Yo, from a PikaRom to Blacephalon, which decks are gonna come along? You don't know what to pick, huh? That's wrong. Just watch this video when the doubts will be gone. We can go crazy like a ReshiZard, or go familiar with the Malamar. Wanna go for Caliona, that's bizarre. Play something with consistency to win them all. Copy everything with a Mewtwo. Scared of power plant, or should you just counter it and go true? Digging fast just like a Hapu. Ultra Necrozma, yeah, here it goes. Hot still around, so I guess I have to show ya I can't one-shot tag teams. Yep, it's a closure. Finally, when it's said and done, I wonder what we'll have. One, pick a deck from the following ones. Top tier decks, yeah, here they come. You know it's about time to know what to play. I wanna shine at worlds and do really great, but these choices are killing me. Hey, you know it's about time to know what to play. I wanna shine at worlds and do really great, but these choices are killing me. Hey. What's up YouTube, it's TCG here and welcome back to another episode on my channel. In this episode I'm going to be exploring the top 5 best contenders for the World Championships or for post-rotation. So I'm going to give you the top 5 best archetype decks that I think are going to be very great after rotation. If you're interested in post-rotation content, also be sure to check out my deck profile videos. They should be available as a playlist in the description below. That way you get to know every single card that is in all of these decks. So you don't have to ask me what cards are you using in these lists. No problem. I already made deck profiles separately about every single deck, so definitely check them out. Also, if you enjoyed the video at any point, be sure to demolish the like button. As always, that helps out the channel a lot. And without further ado, let us get up and rolling with number 5. We have ReshiZard. I think ReshiZard is still a very fantastic deck. I think the build that will do the best actually is the one with Green's Exploration. Green's Exploration can get 2 trainer cards immediately from our deck into our hand, and that means you can search out Fiery Flints, you can even search out Stadium cards. And the reason that it's going to perform very well is that because of the Power Plant. Power Plant is a Stadium card that shuts down any abilities from GXs. That means no Dedenne, and with a format rotating like this, a lot of people will grab to those Cherish Balls and Dedenne GX. So, and with a heavy include of Power Plant, you're gonna have an edge. The reason it's only at the number 5 spot is that after testing, I already tested all of these deck profiles and actually all these decks in general. The reason that I think it's only the number 5 spot is that sometimes the opponent will use a reset stamp on you, and that way this deck crumbles apart, because a Green's Exploration list sometimes doesn't perform very well at the late game. What else is in a list like this? You of course are gonna rely on Welder to get of course all the energies onto your ReshiZard, and other than that, it's very straightforward. We're going to be running healing cards like Mixed Herb as well in a ReshiZard list. Custom Catcher is also a very nice addition here, because before the rotation, ReshiZard already played with Custom Catchers, so now it actually is one of the more reliable decks to incorporate gusting. So if you want to gust, use a Green's Exploration, get 2 Custom Catchers, and you're done. So I do think that is very good. Volcanion, if you go second, is always a fantastic starter. That way with Flare Starter you can get yourself up and rolling. And what else you should know about this deck is that it has easy access to Reset Stamp, thanks to of course the Greens build. So without that, I think 1 copy of Shrine of Punishment is going to be a must if you want to have an edge against PikaRom though. So now we're just gonna explore some matchups here. So this is the number 5 spot against Mewtwo and Mew. It's gonna be actually kind of hard, because Mewtwo Mew is it's kind of like a toolbox, which makes sure that they can spam the attack of Altaria. Bright Tone, which means GXs can no longer attack it, so that's why they have to respond with a baby Volcanion, and things like that don't turn out very well. So I don't think this has a good matchup against Mewtwo and Mew. Against PikaRom, it does have a reasonable matchup because they are gonna sometimes rely on the Raichu and Alolan and Raichu GX to come after your ReshiZard, and then you're paralyzed. No problem, we have Mixed Herbs to get rid of that paralyzation. Against PikaRom, as mentioned, we have that single copy of Shrine of Punishment, which will get 1 damage counter on every GX. So if they have 2 PikaRom, that's already fantastic. That way ReshiZard can just clean up with 230 damage and you're good. So it does have a good matchup against PikaRom. Against Malamar versions, it all depends which version they're playing. If they're playing the Giratina version, they might get the upper hand, because we don't often go on the offensive for 270 damage. So we are gonna have to 2-shot, while they can sometimes 1-shot if they get their spell attacks correctly. So against the Giratina, the Garchomp Giratina, Malamar version, that's not a very good matchup, but against Ultra Necrozma might sometimes get a one-hit KO, but we get a one-hit KO on him as well. So with, of course, Flare Strike very early on in the game, we can reliably use things like Green's Exploration to go for custom catchers and target its GX on the bench while it's charging up. So that's fantastic. Against the lone Giratina, of course, with the spell tags, the one price attacking build, with shrines, with spell tags, I don't think we're gonna have an edge because we have two-shot, although I think it's still 50-50 because it all depends on when we are drawing our healing cards like Mixed Herbs. So that's a 50-50 matchup. Giratina Malamar is a little bit sided for Garchomp Giratina, and PikaRom is a good matchup. For mirror matches, that's 50-50, and then Blacephalon is a rather hard matchup depending on our draw. So they will need a lot of energies in the Lost Zone. We cannot skip the B-string turn, so that's gonna be not the greatest matchup in the world. So that's that. Okay, number 5, we have ReshiZard. Also, I just want to state that this does have an answer against Keldeo. People are afraid of that quad Keldeo GX deck that, of course, has that Holy Heart ability shenanigans going on. Don't worry about it too much. We have Power Plant to overcome that, and we even have the GX move. Double Blaze GX, believe it or not, can go through any effect, so that's fantastic. What else can I talk about here? Against Shedinja, that's also something I want to include here. Shedinja and Keldeo, maybe Lost March even. Those are some tier 2 decks that might even perform better than we initially thought. So against Shedinja, do we have an answer against Shedinja? We don't run Faba, we don't run the Lysander Labs. I don't think it's going to be a great matchup, to say the least. So maybe we are faster. We have our custom catchers early game, so we can use them reliably and gust up the Substrike. Other than that, it's going to be very hard. I think Shedinja is also one of those inclusions. I didn't put it in the top 5 because it's yeah, one of those decks that it's... How can I just say it nicely? It all depends on which decks you're facing. If you're facing a deck that has answers against it, then you're gonna lose. For instance, we're gonna go onto our number 4 spot here, and that's Blacephalon. Blacephalon does have an answer against Shedinja in the form of Ninetales being able to gust almost every single turn, so there's that. Okay. Blacephalon, we already know him. Mind blown, 50 damage for every energy we're willing to put in the Lost Zone. I think this deck is very great. It might even win Worlds. But I'm afraid of the Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is gonna be the one that holds Blacephalon GX in check. That's a new card for colorless energy. It can one-shot a Blacephalon GX, and that's got me a little bit worried here. So that's why I'm only putting it on the number 4 spot, but it's still very, very nice. It does have that new Nagandel GX as an inclusion here with Ultra Conversion. You'll be able to draw cards even if you get Reset Stamp with the Nagandel from the Lost Thunder set. We have Charging Up. We are gonna have, of course, have infinite amount of gusting thanks to the 9 Temptation ability of Ninetales. That is from the team up set, so you definitely want to be including a 2-tool line of that. That way you don't have to worry about Shedinja that at all. So there's that. And also against things like Keldeo, we do have a 1-price attacker in the form of Nagandel. Hopefully we will run through them because they also have the 2-shot, even though they also have healing cards. It's something interesting, right? What else can I say? Straightforward list: Lily, Cynthia's, Welders, everything you'd expect in a Blacephalon list. And then there's B-String. Another deck that likes to skip over the B-String turns is another tier 2 deck, maybe even tier 3, is Dark Box. Dark Box, we already covered it on the channel, yeah, and full detail. That is going to be the deck that relies, of course, on that Mega, Sableye, and Tyranitar GX to be able to one-shot one of our Pokemon after they just sniped around some damage with Darkrai. And yeah, Darkrai can actually skip the B-String turn, so that's got me a little bit afraid. Other than that, it's a very reliable list, goes very quickly onto the opponent, and has a great matchup against tag teams. So what else can I say? It does lose a lot of cards, so Blacephalon is my number 4 spot on the top 5 best decks. As mentioned, if you want those deck profiles, they will be in the description below. Definitely check the links out. I made sure that everything is in there. Then, on my number 3 spot, this is a divided slot here. I would say a Malamar variant. I have 2 of them right here. We have the one with the Giratina and Garchomp Tag Team GX. That is an interesting list, as mentioned, with fighting energies and spell tags, and of course that Calamitous Slash, which dishes out 240 damage if the opponent already has damage counters. Yeah, let me just recapitulate again with Blacephalon. We didn't cover the matchups too well. ReshiZard, good matchup. The PikaRom, good matchup, unless they snipe your Dedenne. That way you're gonna have a tough time. Don't get out your Dedenne against PikaRom. But other than that, against any tag team, you're gonna have a good time. just be very worrisome about Tapu Fini. Okay. Back to the Giratina Garchomp. We mentioned here spell attacks and all that good stuff. I think this is one of the fewer tag team GXs that can still one-shot. We lost Choice Band, which is a huge bummer, but this deck still can one-shot. We have Spell Attack. We have, of course, the ability of Giratina, the Distortion Door, which will make sure I can just get some damage on the bench Pokemon. And I think this is going to be one of those contenders that either is going to perform very well or is just going to break, because I did have an inclusion here with the Dene GX. Of course, you want the Dene. Maybe you should add in a second copy, because sometimes you have those hands where there's nothing you can do. So you have a hand like Malamar and some stuff, and you have a Lillian. You only can Lily for 2. That happens from time to time, but it's still very viable. Same goes for Ultra Necrozma. Ultra Necrozma is not a tag team, but it still hits very hard. And I also included like Latios GX. That is something you can include if you're very afraid of tag team GXs like PikaRom, or of course things like ReshiZard, for instance. And all of these lists are very straightforward. Communication, Mysterious Treasure, shenanigans going on. We have Viridian Force to get out our necessary energy for the Ultra Necrozma. That is a metal energy. For the Giratina Garchomp Tag Team GX, that is a fighting energy. Which version is better? In my testing phases, I have to say that the Garchomp Giratina performed a little bit better than I initially thought, because it can one-shot a lot of these tag teams. Even huge threats like Mewtwo Mew, which has 270 HP, we can easily take that down. For instance, they knock out an NK with a spell attack, or otherwise they pass. That means they get 4 damage counters on them. That means they only have 230 HP and we dish out 240. So that's why we can create one-hit KOs, and that's why I love about the Garchomp and Giratina Tag Team GX. For matchups against Mewtwo Mew, it's kind of 50-50, because they can of course use that Altaria Bright Tone, but we of course have alternate attackers in the form of Giratina, one-price attackers, and yeah, it's just 50-50. Against PikaRom, they will need a lot of Electro Powers in order to one-shot us. We have of course the edge by dealing 240 damage exactly, so with a couple of Distortion Doors early game and some well-timed custom catchers, we can make quick work of that PikaRom. Although we have to again be afraid here, because we do not run the Mew from Unbroken Bonds. If you get out the Dene, they might leap ahead in prize cards. So if you're up against PikaRom, I know it's very tempting to use the Dene, but you should try and not bend your Dene, for otherwise they will snipe it for 2 prize cards and you'll be done for it. Against Blacephalon, that is not a good matchup in my book. They could swing with Giratinas every single turn, but I think that Blacephalon, yeah, if you start with a tag team or a GX in general, Blacephalon will take the better edge here. And against ReshiZard, yeah, same story here. They cannot one-shot us unless they have 6 energies and use that Double Blaze GX. They have to 2-shot, while we can sometimes one-shot if we can rely on a spell attack. Okay, moving forward, we have on the number 2 spot, very interesting, we have PikaRom. Yeah, PikaRom, everyone's favorite lightning deck, is still around, up and kicking. The thing I have to say here is that the new edition Alolan Raichu and Raichu Tag Team GX is an absolute must. You definitely want to include it, maybe even 2 copies. That way with Zeraora you can swing between them and paralyze every single turn. It's very fun to do. I tested it before, it's awesome. What else? It gains a little bit more speed. We have the Dene. We have Electromagnetic Charger, or what is it called? I think that's, yeah, Electromagnetic Radar. That way we can discard Lightning Energy safely, search our deck for 2 Lightning GXs, and most of the times that will be a Zeraora or the Dene, or a PikaRom, depending on what you prefer. And yeah, we even have Cherish Ball, we have Communication. This deck is still very good. That we can just safely use Voltner, get our Communication, no problems asked, and we can just afterwards use the Dene. So that's why there's a lot of Voltners in here nowadays, because we can safely rely on the Dene, and afterwards we can just use that Voltner, or maybe before you use the Dene, use the Voltner. Voltner is awesome. Why is that? Well, there's a new item card in here, that Stadium Navigator, and that Stadium Navigator will make sure we can flip 2 coins for every head, so we can search your deck for a Stadium card, and that will be our Thunder Mountain. So with a Voltner, you can initially get, of course, your Stadium Navigator. That means you get a Thunder Mountain and a Lightning Energy. That means if you begin your turn first, that means that Full Blitz is only 1 turn away, and even with things like Energy Switch and all that good stuff, and Tapu Koko Prism, Star Shenanigans, you of course get your Full Blitz off almost every single first turn, which is awesome. The speed is by its side. If the opponent is not running Mew from Unbroken Bonds, you're definitely gonna have an awesome time. Also with the rotation, there's no longer Boswell GX, Lycanroc GX, that's all gone down the drain. The only counters like maybe Boswell, or maybe the Machamp and Marshadow Tag Team GX. if they implement it. They could implement it in the Giratina Garchomp Tag Team GX deck, but I haven't seen it before in one of those lists. The thing here is that PikaRom doesn't have an answer against Keldeo. And that is my main issue. We do run one copy of Zapdos, but one copy of Zapdos does not go through an entire army of Keldeos. So if you play this deck, try and avoid Keldeo. Same goes for Shedinja. You could of course rely on that Tag Bolt to swipe around, but most Shedinja lists will run that Mew from Unbroken Bonds, so we cannot even rely on that, and that's why they will get the edge, and that's that. We don't have an answer, don't have Lysander Labs, don't have Faba, so Shedinja and Keldeo, both tier 2 decks that cause us a lot of trouble, but definitely tag for Shedinja if you want to win Worlds. Otherwise you are just very lucky and dodge all of them. Okay, without further ado, PikaRom against ReshiZard is, I don't think it's a very good matchup if they run the correct cards like Koga's Trap or Shrine of Punishment. That way, they can one-shot you, and if they can one-shot you and you cannot one-shot them back, you're gonna have very, very difficult matchup ahead of you. Okay, now number 1 pick for Worlds. I think this deck will win Worlds, and that is gonna be Mewtwo Mew Tag Team GX. Why do I think it's gonna win the Worlds? Well, very simply, you have answers against everything. With the Perfection ability, we can use any attack we possibly want. I know that it can be shut off by Power Plant, but we're also running a heavy amount of stadiums in this type of list. That means Perfection is always gonna be our main way to attack. You can just, wait for the opponent to smack down a Power Plant and overlap it with something like, let's see what else. What do we have? We have, of course, the Heat Factory Prism Star. We have the Giant Heart. That is also a stadium card that gets fire energies from the deck. I think this deck has an answer against everything. Why is that? Let's say, oh no, they have even the Power Plant. Well, we just simply attack with ReshiZard, so there's 2 copies of that in here. It's basically like a fire deck, but with Mewtwo on top and some rainbow energies. That means we can attack with whatever we place. Oh no, there is a Keldeo GX. We cannot attack it, or can we? With the Mist Slash, we can go through, any effects here. This attack damage isn't affected by weakness, resistance, or any other effects. So if you get this Detective Pikachu's Greninja's GX, just put it in the discard pile and you can start using the attacks from that Pokemon. That way we smack through Keldeos all day long, and they cannot run Power Plant otherwise, or their ability is also gone. So Keldeo, easy. Let's say we're facing off against, let's see here, PikaRom. We can simply go with the Altaria and Brightstone. That means the PikaRom player only can attack with Zapdos, and they can only swing at us one time, and then we knock it out. They don't have Rescue Strategy. Good. Against Giratina and that shenanigans, so we can always rely on, of course, our main way to get energies in play. We can use the Welder, or we can start using the attack of the Solgaleo GX on 120 damage and accelerate energies until we have enough energies to start using that Dragonite GX to one-hit KO Giratina and Garchomp Tag Team GX. It couldn't happen. Also, we can sometimes attack with Double Blaze GX for 300 damage if we can get 2 Welders off in 2 turns. And there's also the nice inclusion of Incineroar GX. If we get damage, we can just use Darkest Tornado GX and just get that Giratina out of our face. So just don't bump into the spell tags. That's a very nasty thing to do. Against Ultra Necrozma, you can simply, of course, again, rely on Brightstone. So I think it's very nice. You can also start destroying things like the Giratina, the one from Lost Thunder with the Distortion Door, with, of course, the 130 damage attack from the Greninja, or, of course, from the Incineroar. So you have answers against everything. Against Blacephalon, same story. You can Brightstone a couple of times. They will have to swing in with their Nagandel, and Nagandel doesn't deal a lot of damage. We can simply get Jirachi GX on board. That way our Psychic weakness is gone, and that means they will have to use that, of course, attack of Nagandel. Let me just safely check what the attack is called. Yeah, Turning Point for 80 damage, and they will have to use it like 80 damage. Another 80 damage, that's 160 damage. Another 80 damage, they will have to 4-shot us. And we even have the Miraculous Duo GX to heal off completely while one-shotting. So, yeah, that's fantastic. So Altaria is going to be very oftenly used in the discard pile, so we can start using it. Same goes for ReshiZard. Are they going to swing in with Volcanions for 110 damage and try to 3-shot us while we can one-shot it? I don't think so. So that's why I think this deck list, well, actually not this particular deck list, but Mew and Mewtwo Tag Team GX will win Worlds. Against Lost March, we even have things to spread. You can even add things to spread in a deck like this, because every GX you want to put in the deck, we can copy with Mew and Mewtwo. So that's why I think this is the #1 pick. Let me know in the comment section what you think will win with the World Championships, or what is the best deck post-rotation. I already made like a bazillion amount of deck profiles on the channel. Definitely check them out if you haven't already. But my #1 pick for the World Championships, I'm not saying that I'm gonna play this, but I do predict that this will definitely be in the finals. Let's just say that. Hopefully my prediction is right, and yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to mash the like button, subscribe for more content, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace out. If you wanna go and test a deck that isn't played a lot in this format, then listen to what I'll say. If you wanna go and try it out with me, let me know how it does in a tournament. I think it could be really great. Chilling on Sundays while new ideas pop in my brain.